starts with a dramatic, slightly tense musical underscore that fades into the background, speaking in a serious, thought-provoking tone. Have you ever considered the unthinkable? A scenario ripped straight from a Hollywood blockbuster but played out in our reality. What if the United States, a nation that hasn't faced a foreign invasion on its mainland in over 2 centuries, suddenly found itself the target of a coordinated attack by 2 of the world's other superpowers, China and Russia? It sounds like a nightmare, right? Let's be clear, this is a massive hypothetical, a strategic what-if game. But exploring it reveals a lot about the world we live in, about power and about what's truly at stake. So how could something like this even begin? It wouldn't start with paratroopers landing in Kansas. It would start silently. The first wave of attack would be digital, a massive, crippling cyber attack. Imagine waking up one morning and nothing works. The power grid is down. Your phone has no signal. The internet is a ghost town. Traffic lights are frozen, causing chaos on the streets. Banks are offline, so your money is inaccessible. The stock market is in a freefall, if it can even open. This initial phase, phase 0, is designed to create maximum chaos and paralysis, to sever the head of the snake before the body even knows it's under attack. While America is grappling with this internal breakdown, the physical invasion would begin. It wouldn't be a single massive D-Day style landing. It would be a multi-pronged assault exploiting geography. From the east, Russian forces, perhaps using staging grounds in Cuba or Venezuela, could attempt to establish a beachhead in Florida or along the Gulf Coast. Their naval and amphibious forces would face the formidable U.S. Atlantic Fleet, but the goal might not be total victory at sea, but to tie up and distract American naval power. Simultaneously, Russian long-range bombers and hypersonic missiles, launched from the Arctic over the North Pole, would target key military installations, air bases, naval ports, and command centers across the country. From the west, the challenge is even greater. The Pacific Ocean is vast, but China's People's Liberation Army Navy, now the largest in the world by number of ships, would attempt to secure strategic islands to use as stepping stones. Their primary targets wouldn't be Los Angeles or San Francisco initially. Instead, think Alaska and Hawaii. Alaska is critical. Seizing control of the Aleutian Islands would give the invading forces a foothold on American soil and a base to launch further attacks, threatening the entire West Coast. Hawaii, home to the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, would be the site of a monumental battle. Taking it would be a devastating blow to American morale and its ability to project power across the Pacific. So, the U.S. is now fighting a war on 3 fronts: a cyber front at home, an eastern front against Russia, and a western front against China. What happens next? This is where the American people come in. An invasion of the U.S. mainland would trigger a response unlike any other in modern history. The Second Amendment, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, would shift from a political talking point to a stark reality. You'd be looking at an armed populace of over 100 million people. Every town, every city, every stretch of highway could become a potential battlefield. The invaders would face what strategists call an insurgency nightmare. They might be able to capture coastal cities, but pushing inland into the vast American heartland, they'd be fighting against a decentralized, determined, and heavily armed resistance movement. Think of the logistical challenges alone. Supplying an army across thousands of miles of hostile territory, where every citizen could be a potential combatant. It would be a quagmire. And what about the rest of the world? An invasion of the U.S. would trigger Article 5 of the NATO treaty. The United Kingdom, France, Germany, Canada, and other allies would be obligated to come to America's defense. The world would be plunged into a true World War III, with global trade halting, economies collapsing, and the terrifying specter of nuclear escalation hanging over every decision. In the end, even if the invaders managed to establish a foothold, could they ever truly conquer the United States? The consensus among most military strategists is a resounding no. The combination of geography, a powerful and technologically advanced military, even if initially crippled, a fiercely independent and armed populace, and powerful global alliances makes a successful, long-term occupation of the United States a virtual impossibility. The cost would be catastrophic for everyone involved. The invaders would be bled dry by a relentless insurgency, and the U.S. would be scarred for generations. It's a terrifying scenario and thankfully a highly improbable one. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragile peace we often take for granted, and why diplomacy, deterrence, and mutual understanding are not just buzzwords. They are the essential guardrails keeping us from a nightmare scenario like this one.